We have become so used to not sleeping being a good thing, or being able to only get 4 hours of sleep and then still function through our day, like being a good thing. And yes, I guess that's cool for your productivity. Hello, welcome to Authentically Aligned, a wellness podcast where we speak on all things wellness, from fitness and nutrition to meditation and mindfulness, healing, growth, self-help, and so much more. If you are a new listener, welcome to the podcast. And if you're a returning listener, I want you to know that I am so grateful for your love and support, and I am sending you that same love and support right back. As some of you may know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And in light of that, I would like to talk about something that I think is really prominent when it comes to my own mental health, the mental health of others, and the mental health of our society as a collective. And that something is rest, because rest is so important. And I think that there are stigmas around rest. I think that we live in a society where rest can be even sometimes frowned upon or looked down on, or people can be shamed for resting and taking care of themselves and taking care of their mind and taking care of their spirit and their body. And that could not be further from the truth. So today, my focus is rest. And I know that a lot of people probably associate rest with sleeping, which absolutely, yes, sleep is an aspect when it comes to rest. But I think that there are so many other realms when it comes to rest, and I want to talk about them. Now, like I said, we live in a society where rest is not the norm. We tend to push through, and we tend to keep working, and we tend to burn ourselves out until we are forced to sit down and rest. And sometimes it's like that. To be honest, this week was one of those weeks for me where I was almost forced, not quite forced, but it got to a point where I was like, if I do not take today and rest, I know that the rest of my week is going to be shot. So I was very mindful of that. I started to listen to my body. I started to understand how I was feeling and just take a step back. I took an entire day to myself where I just rested. I did the things that made me feel good. I did things that helped to replenish me. And the next day I woke up feeling slightly better. We'll say slightly. But like I said, I think that we are all just so used to pushing through that the only time that we take to rest and replenish ourselves is when we're forced to. And I want to talk about normalizing resting. I want to talk about sleep habits, your sleep schedule, and the things that are going to be so crucial when it comes to resting and ultimately help you and your success. You know, I think that so many times we're scared to rest because there's no time to rest, and we need to keep working towards whatever it is we're working on. We need to keep pushing through. But ultimately, you are going to perform better if you're taking care of yourself and actually resting your body, resting your mind, resting your soul, so that you are able to perform optimally. You are able to be your best self. You are able to show up as your highest self because you know how to take care of yourself in a way that's sustainable, yet still have productivity and create the success that you desire. So the first thing that plays into resting, absolutely, hands down, is sleep. Now, I would like to bet that a majority of you are not getting as much sleep every night as you should be getting. Now, of course, it varies from person to person, gender. It varies depending on age. The average adult should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. And I would like to bet that a majority of you are not getting those hours. And if you are, I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. Let's go. But we don't realize that we have become so used to not sleeping being a good thing, or being able to only get 4 hours of sleep and then still function through our day, like being a good thing. And yes, I guess that's cool for your productivity, but really, you're not at your highest and best self if you're only getting 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep. And I would like to bet also that if you start to implement more and better, good quality sleep, that's something that we will talk about as well. I would like to bet that you increase your productivity in a shorter time span, in less hours. Because when you are getting the appropriate amount of sleep every night, your body naturally performs better. Let's talk about how sleep benefits your body. So first and foremost, sleep supports healthy brain function, which is huge. It's also helpful not only in maintaining your physical health, but your heart health and your mental health as well. Getting enough sleep supports a healthy brain function. It helps in optimal recovery. It helps with maintaining weight loss. It increases your attention span. It keeps your immunity strong. It boosts memory and learning. And overall, it is truly the center of health and mental well-being. And I feel like most people don't realize how important and how crucial sleep is to your overall health, your mental health, your physical health, especially those who are, going to the gym and working out, and your body and your muscles cannot recover with only 4 or 5 hours of sleep. That is the time when your body is taking the time to recover itself, rebuilding muscle, refilling your body, replenishing itself. And if you're not taking that time, essentially a lot of the time in the gym could be well wasted because you're not getting that optimal recovery at the end of the day. So like I said, it is recommended that adults get 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Now, how do we make that happen? We change our sleep habits, our sleep schedule, and we make it conducive to getting a good night's rest, the best night's rest we can possibly get, right? So I want to talk today about some of the habits that I use that have helped so much on my sleep journey. Let me tell you, take it back to 4 or 5 years ago, I was an awful sleeper. I would be the person that was up until 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I would sleep till 11, and sometimes I would have to be up early, or sometimes I would stay up super late, and I had no sleep schedule. There was no routine to it, and my body was not performing at its best. Fast forward to today, I would say probably for about the last 1.5 to 2 years, I have been on a very strict sleep schedule, and I call myself a grandma. People call me a grandma, but let me tell you, I feel so great at the end of the day. I feel so great in the morning, and I feel so great throughout the day because I know that my body and my mind are so well rested. Something that is really big also is making sure that you are getting into REM sleep. And your REM cycles are 90 minutes each. So the way that I like to schedule my sleep is based on the amount of time that I have and my REM cycles. So sometimes I do have an early morning and I'm not able to get the full 9 hours of sleep that I would like. Now, let me tell you, I don't think I ever really get 9 hours of sleep, except for this past week when I allowed myself to rest. So typically I get about 7.5 hours of sleep, which is 5 REM cycles. Now, I have found this so great for my sleep because if you wake yourself up in the middle of a REM cycle, you are guaranteed to be more groggy. You're guaranteed to find a harder time getting up. You're more likely to hit snooze. But if you catch yourself at the end of a REM cycle, your alarm goes off and you are ready to go. You're ready to tackle the day. And I think that has been so crucial in the start of my days. Something else that I do, which I know not everybody has accessibility to do, but I have the Hue lights installed in my bedroom and I have them on a timer. So they slowly dim on for the first 30 minutes right before I wake up in the morning. And this is so great for your circadian rhythm because it allows your body to wake up naturally. Now, I'm somebody who wakes up before the sun every single day. And this has been really great in helping me to keep my sleep on track. But I also think that it's great for people who maybe don't necessarily wake up before the sun, but our goal, and we'll talk about this, is to have a super dark room. So if you have blackout curtains, how do you expect your body to wake up in the morning? And I think that it's so great because I do feel as if my circadian rhythm is on a flow, it's on a routine, and it knows it naturally starts to wake up as my alarm goes off, which is so incredible. And I think it also aids in me feeling so great in the morning. It aids in me ready to get out of bed, ready to start the day, ready to make my bed and do my morning readings and then get to the rest of my day. So taking it back to before you go to sleep at night. Now, there are things that I'm going to tell you right now that you are not going to like, and that's okay. You don't have to follow them. Or if you do, you can, say how much you dislike me for telling you about this at the end of the day. So first and foremost, I am a firm believer in no TV in the bedroom. Now, this is so big because I think that we will turn the TV on or we'll have the TV on right before we're going to bed. And who knows what we're watching, right? We're watching something that is completely stimulating to our mind and probably in a not so great way. Well, let me tell you, even if you turn the TV off, which I don't think a lot of people do, even if you turn the TV off, you are still experiencing that energy, you're still experiencing that frequency, and you're still experiencing that stimulation in your mind right before you go to sleep and even into your first cycles of sleep. So making sure that you are not turning the TV on in the bedroom. If you are turning the TV on in the bedroom, I would say turn it off at least 30 minutes, if not an hour before you go to sleep. I think that is so huge. Not only for the content that you are consuming, but also for the light that your eyes are also taking in. Again, it affects your circadian rhythm and it's not good for getting optimal sleep. Another thing is, obviously, if we're talking about screen time, is your phone and scrolling on your phone. Now, I know we all use our phone. We use it for an alarm, whatever. But I think that it's really important to set those boundaries with your phone and keep yourself on that strict schedule or on these strict habits. Where for me, I definitely spend time at the end of the day scrolling. But I try and do my scrolling outside of the bedroom. I will scroll outside of the bedroom. And once I go up to my bedroom, that is my sacred space. So I try not to, let's say this. I try not to bring social media and scrolling into the bedroom, just as I don't bring TV into the bedroom as well. So thinking about taking your day-to-day, taking all of the media outside of the bedroom. And if you're not able to do this, I completely understand. And again, just like with the TV, turn it off or set it down 30 minutes before you go to sleep, an hour before you go to sleep, even an hour and a half before you go to sleep, I think is so great. And if you need something to kind of help you in falling asleep, I suggest reading a book. Something else that is huge for me is sleeping to sound frequencies. Now, this was something that was so great when I really started on my sleep journey and I wasn't getting good sleep. I was really anxious. I wasn't able to fall asleep. I wasn't able to stay asleep. And playing frequencies throughout the entirety of the night helps me to fall asleep better. It helps me to stay asleep and also fall into a deeper sleep. So you can look them up on YouTube, any sound frequencies. Whatever frequency it is that you like to listen to or you feel soothed by or calmed by, I recommend listening to. Even if you can't listen to it all night, go to sleep to that. That being said, having a super dark room. So even for me, I'll turn my sleep frequencies on and I have them on my phone and I click my phone off. So it's completely black. Because having even just the black screen light that's shining in your room is enough for you to keep that circadian rhythm out of whack. and not fall asleep completely. So the darker your room is, the better. I have blackout curtains. There is no light in my room, and I also sleep with a sleep mask on. So like it is pitch black, which let me tell you, sleeping with a sleep mask on is kind of like, people say I look crazy when I sleep, which I absolutely do. But it has helped me so much because it forces me to, number one, keep my eyes closed. If I do wake up in the middle of the night, I just roll over and I try and go back to sleep. And 9.5 times out of 10, it really works. And I think that you guys should try sleeping with an eye mask. So super dark room. Your room should also not be very hot. I don't know the exact temperature, but it should be under 70 degrees in your room in order for you to sleep, because that is where you're going to get the optimal sleep. That's how you're going to fall into your REM sleep the fastest. And it's just going to help with also the recovery of your body. I don't do this anymore, but something that I used to do that really helped with my anxiety is sleeping with a weighted blanket. That was so great in helping me to fall asleep and reducing anxiety. Something else that really helps me is, at the end of the day, our thoughts are racing and we're constantly thinking about what we have to do tomorrow. We're thinking about the rest of our week. We're thinking about all of these things. And something that really, really helps me before I go to sleep is I will journal. So just like I said, taking a second to read, take a second to journal. And maybe it's not journaling for your own mental health, but maybe it's writing down everything that you need to do the next day, making a list, making a checklist. That way, it's all out of your brain, it's on paper, and you're able to fall asleep better. You're able to fall asleep faster. And then you know exactly what it is that you need to tackle when you wake up in the morning. Also, journaling for mental health. Like, I am a firm believer. Like, I have my nighttime routine where I go upstairs, I shower, I do my skincare, I make some tea. That's another thing that really has helped me. Either I drink sleepy time tea or I drink a magnesium supplement, and Natural Vitality's Calm magnesium supplements, sleep supplements have been such a beneficial point in my sleep journey. So if you haven't checked them out, go check them out. They have powder form, they have gummy form, they have so many different supplements that are going to aid in sleep. And they have magnesium, which is also going to aid in so many other functions of your body. So check them out. So anyway, I make my tea or my magnesium drink and I will go get in bed. I will either journal or I will read my book or both for about 30 minutes. And then I turn my lights off and I go to sleep. And I feel like this really primes and preps me for going to sleep, because by the time I finish that 30-minute routine in bed, I'm already eyes heavy, ready to fall asleep. So definitely recommend having a routine and keeping it consistent, keeping the same thing every night. This is what I do first, then this is what I do, then this is what I do. And then it becomes second nature and you don't really have to think about it. And you enjoy your bedtime routine, which I love. My bedtime routine is my favorite routine. Don't bother me. Don't talk to me. That is what I'm going to do. With that being said, we talked about consistency, right? So I do think that this is probably the hardest part of your sleep routine and sleep habits, is keeping a consistent bedtime and a consistent wake up time. And I know that this is hard because some days you do have to be up earlier for work, or some days you are out later after work or at the end of your day, right? So it's not going to be 100 out of 100 every single day. It's going to look the same, but keeping it as consistent as possible has really helped me. And I've found that even now, the times that I do go out, which I don't really go out often, but say I'm at a dinner, it's a little bit later than what my bedtime is, right? I try and keep my wake up time the same so that the next day I can still go to sleep at the same time. And this can be kind of hard, but I think that it really helps your body to stay in that natural flow, in that natural state, so that you're able to stay consistent with these sleep patterns. Something else that I think is really, really, really crucial is getting sunlight first thing in the morning. We've talked about our circadian rhythm, so allowing the sun to hit your face and hit your body, and internalizing the sun first thing in the morning helps to reset your circadian rhythm, as well as getting sunlight throughout the day. You know, I think that a lot of us now, we tend to work remote, or we tend to be in the office all day, and sometimes we don't even like open the blinds or open the curtains. And I think that making sure that you're getting sunlight throughout the day is so beneficial. And then once the sun starts to go down, that's when you should start eliminating the light that's in your face or the light that you're watching on the TV. Start to eliminate those things, and naturally your body is going to start to be tired. It's going to want to sleep, and then you're going to not have to force yourself to go to sleep. So I know it's so much information, and there are so many parts and little bits and pieces to it. And what I recommend you doing is starting a little bit at a time. Start with one habit. Start to implement 1 or 2 habits. And then as you start to create a routine, you can start to implement more and more of those habits. Then you're getting optimal sleep. But I'm telling you, my sleep journey did not happen overnight. It started with maybe 1 or 2 habits, and then slowly I found my routine. I found what worked for me. I found what helped me to sleep better, what made me feel good. And like I said, at the end of the day, like, my sleep routine is one of my favorite parts of my day. And eventually I think that you can find that too. You just have to be willing and open to start to make little changes in your life so that you are getting that optimal sleep, optimal recovery. Your mind functions so much better. Your body functions so much better. You feel better. And I promise it's worth it. So we talked about the sleep part of resting, which I think is one of the most crucial parts of resting, but that doesn't mean that it is the only part of resting. And there are so many other components to resting that are, I believe, just as important as making sure that your sleep schedule is on track and intact. So resting your mind is something that I feel not all of us do. Right? I think that we live in a world where we are constantly stimulated. We're on the go all the time. We're working all the time. And a lot of us have become so accustomed to not even really living the 9-to-5 life anymore, because either we are entrepreneurs or we are still working at the end of the day because we want to be caught up and ready for the next day. Whatever it may be and whatever lifestyle you may choose to live, I believe that resting our mind is something that we always forget to do. And resting your mind can look like many different things. It can look like meditating. It can look like going for a walk in nature. It can look like going to the beach. It can look like sitting in silence for 15 minutes. It can look like going for a drive just to clear your head and maybe not think about anything. Something that I've found to be really helpful in resting my mind is getting into something that's creative, finding a creative project, finding a creative hobby. And we don't really think about it, but there are so many ways to be creative. Like, almost everything that we're doing is creative, right? But being able to turn your brain off and just let it flow and let it be and let it exist, I think is something that people need to do more often. And I've found joy in doing this, whether it be in cooking. That's a huge way that I find myself to be creative. I have, some days I will decide I just want to paint, or I want to color in a coloring book, and just allowing your mind to be so free, but allowing it to flow at the same time. You're still doing something, you're still active and you're present, but you're not presently focused on all of that outside noise. You're really focused on something that has meaning to you and that you are able to create. So taking time to Find a hobby that is going to allow you to turn your mind off, but it's something that brings you joy. It's something that allows you to relax and also fulfills you in so many ways. I think that we don't realize, as kids, we have the opportunity always to be so creative and pour into that creative side of our brains. And then we become adults and we start working and we start living in the world and having to pay bills and do all these things. And we kind of tend to lose that creative side of us. And I think that it's a side of us that really does help us to rest our brain from the day-to-day things. It helps us to use the other side of our brain. And then it also becomes fulfilling and replenishing at the same time. So finding creative outlets that you enjoy and are able to implement, maybe not daily, but throughout the week, and you're able to find that different side of you is a way to rest your mind from the day-to-day things, but also pour into yourself in a different aspect, which I think is beautiful. Resting your mind can look so different to so many people, and I think that it's finding things that work for you, finding things where you may do something and you do come out of it feeling so much more rested, so much more full. Your mind is a little bit more clear. And understanding that those habits are so important to your everyday life. They're so important to that good mental clarity and good mental health, because you are using your all-around brain and you're also pouring into that. You're also cultivating a beautiful relationship with yourself simultaneously, and that adds to your mental health without even you realizing it. Making sure that your mind is well rested, because our minds are constantly running, constantly going. How do we rest our minds? For me, something so big in resting my mind is meditation. Sound healing, sound baths, sound frequencies. Huge. To be honest, that was one of the only ways that I found myself to be able to clear and rest my mind, was through sound. Now, playing the bowls, for me, that is clearing my mind. Going to a sound bath, that is clearing my mind. Finding those little activities where you are able to turn your brain off and be completely present in the moment, it's going to add to your mental health. It's going to add to your mental clarity. And then the more you start to implement these habits, the more they become second nature. And you now have created a routine where you're taking care of your mind on the daily, or you're staying present in every moment, regardless of what work you may be doing or where you may be. Creating and cultivating these mental health habits are so crucial. And I want you to take time to find those things that allow you to clear your mind, turn your brain off, and let your mind rest. Lastly, resting your body is so important, and people don't realize. I think, as we've spoken on previously, we are constantly going, we are constantly pushing, we are wanting to do all of the things that we do. And I know that some of my fellow gym goers or people in fitness or people who have really taken time to dedicate their life to the physical part of their health and wellness, we get so used to pushing through and we get so used to our little routine that we don't want to take a rest day. We don't want to take a day off. But let me tell you, it is so necessary for you to take a day off. Take 2 days off. Take a week off sometimes, because your body needs to recover. It needs to refuel. It needs to replenish. And also making sure that in that you are practicing things that are helping your body to recover. So some of those things can look like taking an hour to just be lazy and lay on your couch. I absolutely promote that, recommend that. Another thing that I love to do is either taking a stretch class or stretching or doing yin yoga. The restorative yogas have become my favorite yoga practice because it allows me to be present with my body. It allows me to take care of my body, recognize how my body is feeling, and then leave just feeling so much better, so much more relaxed in my body, feeling so much more aware of the presence of my body. And it's such a beautiful experience that I think everybody needs to try. Some other habits when it comes to resting and taking care of your body can look like going to get a massage, going to the chiropractor, going to sit in a sauna or steam room, doing contrast therapy, which everybody knows I love, one of my favorite things to do, taking a hot bath, taking a cold shower. I think that people really underestimate what a cold shower can do for you. I know there are so many people who can't even bring themselves to do it, but taking a cold shower is so good for your body. It resets your nervous system. It allows you to bring back that mind-body connection that sometimes we lose because our body just functions and we move and we don't have to think about it. But when we're able to bring back that mind-body connection and add awareness to our body, I think that it helps us to understand our body better. It helps us to tap into our body and understand, oh, maybe I do need to rest a little bit more. Or maybe this is what I need today. This is what my body is feeling, and this is what I need to do. So really taking that time to listen to your body and become more aware of the things that your body will naturally tell you. Your mind will naturally tell you. And a lot of times we will tune it out, turn it down, turn the volume down, ignore it for as long as we can until we are forced to sit down and rest, until we are forced to take care of our body, until we are injured and have no choice but to sit down. Being mindful of all of these things, just because you're pushing through, does not mean that you're being productive. So I want you to take a step back. What does productivity mean? Does productivity mean pushing through and persevering even though you're losing your mind? Your body doesn't feel good. You haven't slept in 3 days. Or does productivity look like taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, taking care of your spirit so that you are able to show up as your best self and complete whatever task it is that you may need to or want to do? So take the time to slow down. Take the time to read a book. Take the time to meditate. Take the time to take yourself on a date. Take the time to sit in the sauna for an hour. Take that time. And I think sometimes we can feel like those things are going to drain us more than they're going to pour into us. But the reality is they are going to fulfill us in ways that we didn't even know that we needed. So be cognizant of these things. Allow yourself to get out of your routine and try new things, try new habits and hobbies that are going to pour into you, that are going to leave your body feeling rested, that are going to leave your mind feeling rested, that are going to leave your spirit feeling rested, and most of all, that are going to leave your heart feeling rested. Take some time this week to really prioritize your rest, your mental well-being, your physical well-being, and overall take some time to just replenish yourself. And as Mental Health Awareness Month comes up, I want you to take care of your mind, but also know that you are not alone in this journey. You are so supported, you are so loved, and I am sending you so much love and light always on your journey.